believing that schools are sanctuaries of learning, places where young minds are nurtured into the light, is perhaps the most dangerous delusion you can cling to. I have seen beyond the veneer of polished hallways and buzzing fluorescent lights, into the shadowed corners where echoes of something far older, far more sinister, still linger. This isn't about detention slips or cafeteria food. It is about the psychic residue left by events so harrowing, so steeped in fear, that they stain the very fabric of reality. Many walk through these halls, oblivious to the specters of their past, but I have glimpsed the darkness that coalesces in these places, a chilling testament to the fact that not all stories told in classrooms are found in textbooks. I remember a whisper I heard, carried on a wind that smelled of cold ashes and forgotten tears, concerning a school once vibrant with the laughter of children. But a shadow fell, a creeping dread that started with small things, misplaced objects, strange noises in empty rooms, the distinct feeling of being watched when no one was there. These were not mere childish pranks. They were the first cracks appearing in the facade, tiny fissures through which something malevolent began to seep. The energy of fear is a potent catalyst, and in places designed for innocence, it can breed monsters that wear no physical form, but whose presence is a thickening miasma that chokes the air and freezes the blood. The first tale I must unveil concerns a young girl, Sarah, whose laughter once echoed through the library stacks. She was bright, curious, a beacon of youthful exuberance. But one afternoon, as dusk bled through the tall windows, she found herself alone in a secluded corner, poring over an ancient, forbidden-looking tome. It wasn't the content of the book that ensnared her, but the implicit invitation it offered, a gateway to understanding what lies beyond the veil. The pages themselves seemed to sigh, releasing a palpable chill, and in that instant, Sarah stepped onto a precipice, a point of no return, her innocent curiosity morphing into a thirst for the unseen. As Sarah delved deeper into the secrets, whispered by that accursed book, the school began to manifest her inner turmoil. Outwardly, desks would be found overturned in empty classrooms, their sturdy wood groaning as if under an immense invisible pressure. The scent of decay, faint yet persistent, would drift from the ventilation shafts, a smell that clung to the back of the throat like dried blood. Teachers spoke of inexplicable cold spots that no amount of heating could dispel, and the shadows in the corridors seemed to deepen, to writhe with a life of their own, as if the very walls were breathing something dark and heavy. One evening, long after the final bell had tolled, and the halls were supposed to be silent, Sarah heard her name being called. It was a faint, spectral sound, emanating from the abandoned wing of the school, a place rumored to be haunted by a tragedy from decades past. Drawn by an unseen force, a morbid fascination that had taken root in her soul, she followed the disembodied voice. Each creaking floorboard under her feet was a heartbeat of dread, each flicker of the emergency lights a flash of impending terror. She was no longer just a student. She was an explorer in the ruins of a forgotten nightmare. When Sarah finally reached the source of the whispers, she found herself in what was once the principal's office. Dust lay thick on the furniture, and a cracked mirror on the wall reflected a distorted, nightmarish version of her own face. The voice, now clearer, beckoned her closer to the mirror, promising revelations, secrets that would unlock the universe. But the reflection was wrong. Her eyes in the glass were not her own. They were ancient, filled with a sorrow so profound it threatened to shatter her very being. The temptation to step through, to embrace the darkness that the mirror offered, was almost overwhelming. The second narrative etched into the spectral records of this institution involves a group of students who, in a moment of reckless bravado, decided to perform a ritual in the school's oldest, most disused laboratory. They sought to contact something, anything that existed outside the mundane world, armed with nothing but a hastily scribbled incantation and a desperate hunger for the extraordinary. The air in the lab grew thick and heavy, charged with an unseen energy that crackled against their skin. It felt like standing on the edge of an abyss, with the universe holding its breath, waiting for them to make their fatal leap. As the ritual reached its crescendo, the instruments in the lab, long dormant, began to stir. Beakers rattled on shelves, and Bunsen burners flickered to life with an unnatural blue flame, casting dancing shadows that contorted into grotesque shapes. A low hum filled the room, vibrating through the concrete floor and into the bones of the terrified students. It was the sound of something ancient and vast awakening, a symphony of the void that promised knowledge but demanded a terrible price. The scent of ozone mingled with something acrid and metallic, like dried blood on cold steel. One by one, the students felt their grip on reality loosen. The boundaries between their world and another began to dissolve, like ink bleeding into water. The symbols they had drawn on the floor glowed with an unholy light, and the air grew frigid, as if a glacial wind had swept through the sealed room. Then, from the center of their hastily constructed circle, a presence began to manifest, not a form, but an absence, a void that sucked the warmth and light from everything it touched. It was the embodiment of their own deepest fears, given form and invited in through the open door of their ignorance. The third story is of a janitor, old Mr. Henderson, who had worked at the school for 30 years. He knew its every creak, every groan, every hidden draft. But in his final year, he began to see things that defied explanation. In the dead of night, while emptying trash cans in the deserted gymnasium, he would hear the phantom squeak of sneakers and the distant roar of an unseen crowd. The basketball hoop, perpetually empty, would sometimes sway as if a spectral player had just slammed a dunk, leaving behind an invisible residue of sweat and victory, or perhaps defeat. Mr. Henderson saw them, the spectral athletes, fleeting glimpses of translucent figures running drills in the empty gym. They were trapped, forever replaying a game that had ended decades ago, their movements fueled by a desperate, unending desire to score. Their spectral roars, though silent to most, echoed in the janitor's ears like the cries of the damned. He tried to ignore them, to sweep them away with the dust and grime, but their presence was like a stain that no amount of cleaning could ever truly erase, a persistent whisper of unfinished business. One night, as he was mopping the floor, a spectral basketball rolled towards him, stopping just at his feet. It was perfectly round, impossibly solid-looking, yet as he reached for it, his hand passed right through. A wave of profound sadness washed over him, a silent plea for release from the spectral players. He understood then that they were not malicious, but souls tethered to this place by the unfinished business of their lives, their passion for the game trapping them in an eternal loop, a constant reminder of what they could no longer achieve. Now, let me speak of the fourth horror, a chilling account that transpired in the school's abandoned theater. It was said that a young actress, full of dreams and ambition, had met a tragic end on its stage during a rehearsal, her life snuffed out by a cruel twist of fate. Since that night, the theater has been sealed, a tomb for her unfulfilled potential. But the applause, the gasps of the audience, and her final, desperate lines are said to echo in the empty space, a ghostly performance that never truly ends. The velvet curtains hang heavy, like shrouds, absorbing all light and sound. Those who have dared to trespass into the darkened theater speak of the spectral stage lights flickering on at unpredictable moments, illuminating an empty stage bathed in an eerie, cold luminescence. They hear the faint strains of music, a melody tinged with melancholy, and sometimes a woman's voice, soft and mournful, reciting lines that drip with sorrow and regret. The air grows heavy, thick with the palpable presence of a soul trapped in an endless loop of her final performance, forever seeking an audience that can never truly see her. The most disturbing aspect is the feeling of being watched by unseen eyes from the darkened seats. It's as if the phantom audience is still there, judging, critiquing, their spectral whispers of approval or disapproval chilling the very marrow of one's bones. Some claim to have seen a translucent figure take center stage, a young woman in a flowing, spectral gown, her face a mask of eternal anguish. She moves with a grace that is both beautiful and terrifying, a dance macabre played out in the hushed silence of the forgotten auditorium, a testament to a life cut tragically short, her spirit forever bound to the boards. The fifth tale unfolds in the school's sprawling, overgrown garden, a place that once served as a tranquil retreat, but now lies neglected, choked by weeds and shadowed by ancient trees. It is whispered that a groundskeeper, driven to despair by loneliness and the oppressive silence, vanished without a trace. One moonless night, his tools were found scattered near the oldest oak, as if he had simply dropped them and walked into the earth, swallowed by the very soil he tended. The garden, once a place of life, now harbors a chilling emptiness, a silence that screams of absence. The garden is said to be a place where time itself seems to warp and bend. Visitors often report feeling disoriented, as if they have lost hours or even days while walking amongst the tangled vines and gnarled branches. The air is thick with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves, a cloying perfume that hints at secrets buried deep within the soil. Strange, disembodied whispers can be heard, carried on the barely perceptible breeze, fragments of conversations that seem to emanate from the very ground beneath one's feet, speaking of regret and eternal solitude. One chilling phenomenon reported is the appearance of spectral tools, a shovel, a rake, a pair of pruning shears, moving on their own, tending to phantom plants that no longer exist. These phantom gardening implements glide through the air, performing tasks with an eerie precision, a silent testament to the groundskeeper's unending dedication, or perhaps his eternal torment. The old oak tree at the center of the garden is said to be the focal point of this spectral activity, its roots reaching deep into the earth, anchoring the groundskeeper's restless spirit to this lonely, forgotten place, a constant reminder of his silent despair. Now, consider the sixth story, a chilling revelation concerning the school's abandoned swimming pool. Once a place of youthful exuberance and splashing water, it is now a stagnant, algae-ridden tomb. Legend has it that a drowning incident, shrouded in mystery and whispers of foul play, occurred here years ago. The victim's spirit, unable to find peace, is said to haunt the empty pool, its spectral presence forever bound to the cold, dark water. The silence around the pool is profound, a heavy blanket that smothers all sound, broken only by the occasional drip of unseen water. Those who have ventured near the derelict pool claim to feel an intense cold radiating from its depths, a frigid aura that pierces through even the thickest clothing. They report hearing faint, gurgling sounds, like distant cries for help that never reach the surface, and the distinct sensation of being pulled downwards by unseen hands. The water, even when stagnant, appears to shift and ripple, as if disturbed by spectral swimmers, their translucent forms momentarily glimpsed beneath the murky surface, their movements desperate and frantic, forever seeking escape from their watery grave. The most disturbing aspect is the feeling of despair that washes over anyone who lingers too long near the empty pool. It's a suffocating sorrow, a profound sense of loss that seeps into the very soul, mirroring the victim's final moments. The air smells perpetually of chlorine and something else, something metallic and ancient, like dried blood mixed with stagnant water. It's a place where the boundaries between life and death blur, where the echoes of a tragedy refuse to fade, a chilling testament to the fact that some wounds never truly heal, and some souls never find their way home. Finally, let us confront the seventh and most insidious tale, one that centers on the school's old, disused boiler room. This place, a labyrinth of pipes and shadows, was the site of a tragic accident involving a young maintenance worker who became trapped and perished amidst the deafening roar of the machinery. His spirit, they say, still roams the echoing tunnels, forever seeking an exit from the inferno that claimed him. The constant hum of dormant machinery seems to mimic the labored breathing of the damned, a low, guttural sound that vibrates in the very bedrock of the building. The boiler room is described as a place of suffocating heat, even when the machinery is cold, a phantom warmth that clings to the skin like a second layer of sweat. Shadows dance and writhe in the periphery, coalescing into fleeting, distorted shapes that seem to mimic the contorted form of the trapped worker. The air is thick with the metallic tang of rust, and something else, something acrid and burned, a phantom scent of his final moments, a constant reminder of the fiery ordeal that sealed his fate, a chilling perfume of pure terror. Whispers are said to emanate from the labyrinthine pipes, desperate pleas for help, for release, for a breath of fresh air that never comes. Those who have dared to enter report, feeling an overwhelming sense of pressure, as if they too are being crushed by invisible forces, their own lungs struggling to draw breath in the superheated atmosphere. The sound of frantic, metallic scraping can sometimes be heard, a phantom echo of the worker's futile attempts to escape, his spectral hands desperately clawing at the unyielding metal, forever trapped in a nightmare of his own making. These are not mere ghost stories whispered in the dark. These are the psychic scars left upon the very foundations of these institutions of learning. The energies of fear, despair, and unfinished business are potent forces that can anchor spirits to places long after their physical forms have departed. They become part of the ambient energy, a low hum of psychic static that can influence those who are sensitive enough to perceive it. A constant reminder that the past is never truly buried, but merely sleeps fitfully in the shadows, waiting for an unwary soul to disturb its rest. The tragedy of these spectral occurrences lies in their silent persistence. They are the cracks in the mirror through which we glimpse a reality far more complex and terrifying than we often allow ourselves to comprehend. These are the whispers from beyond that most choose to ignore, the shadows that dance at the edge of vision, the cold ashes of lives extinguished too soon. To acknowledge them is to acknowledge the fragility of our own existence, the thin veil that separates our perceived reality from the infinite, unfathomable depths that lie beyond. Do you feel this dark message was meant for you? Do you sense the echoes of these spectral tales resonating within the silent spaces of your own life? Perhaps you felt a chill in a seemingly empty room, heard a whisper on the wind that spoke your name, or experienced a moment of profound unease in a place of supposed safety. These are the subtle invitations from the other side, the gentle nudges from the unseen forces that surround us, urging us to look beyond the mundane and to consider the profound mysteries that lie just beneath the surface of our everyday world. Every soul that joins feeds the voice that whispers from the darkness. Subscribe and like this transmission, and become a beacon for those who seek to understand the spectral tapestry that weaves through our reality. Your engagement amplifies the whispers, turning them into a chorus that resonates with the truths hidden in the shadows. Together we can illuminate the forgotten corners, unravel the spectral mysteries, and bring to light the chilling narratives that have long been relegated to the realm of mere folklore, but which, in truth, are the very substance of forgotten histories. The entities that linger in these spaces are not always malevolent, but they are powerful. They are fragments of consciousness, echoes of emotion, tethered to the physical world by the sheer intensity of their lived experiences. These experiences, often marked by extreme suffering, intense passion, or unresolved issues, create energetic imprints that can manifest in various ways. They are like psychic stains, permeating the environment, and occasionally interacting with the living, not necessarily out of malice, but out of a desperate need for recognition, for release, or simply to continue their unfinished existence in the only way they know how, by replaying their final moments, their deepest fears, their most profound regrets. The danger, however, lies in misinterpreting these manifestations. When fear takes hold, it can amplify the negative aspects of these residual energies, creating a feedback loop that draws further darkness. It is crucial to approach these phenomena with a sense of understanding rather than terror. The ultimate goal of these lingering spirits is not to harm, but perhaps to communicate, to seek closure, or even to warn. But their methods are often terrifying, their messages delivered through the language of dread and unease, a language that speaks directly to the primal fears buried deep within the human psyche, a language that chills to the very bone. Consider the concept of psychic residue, the energetic imprint left behind by strong emotions and significant events. Schools, being places of intense emotional fluctuation, from the exhilaration of discovery to the crushing weight of failure, from the bonds of friendship to the sting of betrayal, are fertile ground for such residue. These imprints can become concentrated, forming pockets of intense psychic energy that can influence the atmosphere and even the behavior of those present. It's as if the walls themselves absorb the collective emotional history, creating a palpable presence that can be felt, even if it cannot be seen. The specters of these schools are not always visible apparitions. More often, they are subtle influences, a pervasive sense of melancholy, an inexplicable urge to perform a forgotten action, or a sudden surge of an emotion that does not belong to the observer. These are the whispers that insidiously creep into the minds of students and staff, the creaking doors of perception opening just a crack to reveal the unsettling truth that the past is not merely a memory, but a living, breathing entity that shares our space. Its influence is real as the cold ash left behind after a fire has consumed all that was once vibrant and alive. What the stars don't tell you openly is that the alignment of celestial bodies can sometimes act as a conduit, amplifying these latent energies. During specific astrological phases, the veil between our world and the spectral realm can thin, making these lingering presences more active and their manifestations more pronounced. It's during these periods that the whispers become clearer, the shadows deepen, and the warnings become more insistent. This is when the residual energies of past traumas and unresolved conflicts can surge, seeking to interact with the living, often in ways that are both fascinating and terrifying, a stark reminder of the cosmic forces that govern our reality, both seen and unseen. The very architecture of these educational institutions can sometimes mirror the psychological states of those who inhabit them. Long, empty corridors can symbolize the endless search for meaning. High ceilings can represent aspirations, and forgotten basements can embody repressed fears. When combined with the intense emotional experiences of youth, these spaces can become potent focal points for paranormal activity. The mundane elements of school life, lockers slamming, bells ringing, footsteps echoing, can take on a sinister quality when imbued with the spectral echoes of past tragedies, transforming familiar sounds into omens of disquiet. It is important to remember that not all hauntings are the result of violent deaths. Sometimes, it is the sheer weight of unfulfilled potential, the collective disappointment of dreams deferred, or the lingering sorrow of friendships lost that can anchor spirits to a place. These emotions, when experienced intensely and repeatedly within the confines of a school, can create a powerful energetic residue that attracts and sustains spectral presences. The air itself can become heavy with the unspoken, the unseen, the unrealized, a constant, low-frequency hum of spectral melancholy that permeates the very fabric of the building, a testament to the quiet despair that can fester in places meant for growth and joy. The profound emotional intensity of adolescence, a period marked by intense discovery, burgeoning identities, and often profound heartache, creates a fertile ground for lingering energies. The collective experiences of joy, fear, anger, and love, shared by hundreds, sometimes thousands of students over decades, can leave an indelible psychic imprint on a school. This energy doesn't simply dissipate, it can coalesce, becoming a palpable force that influences the environment and occasionally interacts with the living, a spectral tapestry woven from the very essence of youthful experience, its threads spun from laughter, tears, and the universal search for belonging and understanding. When you walk through the halls of any school, especially one with a history, pause for a moment. Close your eyes and try to feel the ambient energy. Do you sense the weight of countless footsteps, the echoes of 1,000 whispered conversations, the phantom energy of past triumphs and failures? These are the spectral imprints, the psychic scars that tell the true stories of these places. They are the silent witnesses to the lives lived and lost within these walls, a constant reminder that every building holds a history far deeper and more complex than what appears on the surface, a history that continues to resonate long after the physical manifestations have faded into dust and memory. The danger in dismissing these phenomena is that it leaves us vulnerable. By refusing to acknowledge the possibility of spectral presences, we close ourselves off to a deeper understanding of reality. This blindness can make us susceptible to the more subtle forms of manipulation that these lingering energies can exert. They feed on fear, on doubt, on the very human tendency to dismiss what we cannot immediately explain. Therefore, confronting these dark visions, understanding these whispers from beyond, is not just about satisfying curiosity. It is about fortifying our own psychic defenses, about becoming more aware of the unseen forces that shape our world and our own internal landscapes, a crucial step in any true transformation. Now, imagine this. The next time you hear a strange noise in an empty room, or feel an inexplicable chill, do not dismiss it. Listen, try to discern the message. Is it a warning, a plea, or simply an echo of a life that was? These are the moments when the veil thins, when the spectral world reaches out. By acknowledging these occurrences, by approaching them with an open mind and a steady heart, you begin to unravel the deeper mysteries of existence. You become a conduit for understanding, a bridge between the seen and the unseen, a traveler on the path toward uncovering the profound truths that lie hidden in the shadows, truths that have been whispered by the dead for centuries. Do you feel this dark message was meant for you? Does the resonance of these spectral tales stir something within your soul, a recognition of experiences that lie just beyond the grasp of everyday awareness? Perhaps you have felt a disquieting presence in a place of learning, heard an echo that seemed to speak of a forgotten sorrow, or experienced a moment where the air itself felt thick with unspoken history. These are the subtle signs, the faint emanations from the spectral realm, urging us to acknowledge the profound interconnectedness of all things, the enduring power of memory, and the persistent echoes of lives that continue to shape our present reality in ways we often fail to perceive. Every soul that joins feeds the voice that whispers from the darkness. Your subscription and like are not merely a gesture of approval. They are an affirmation of the unseen, a testament to the enduring power of mystery and the allure of the unknown. By becoming part of this community, you help to amplify the spectral whispers, transforming them into a resonant chorus that speaks truth to those who are willing to listen. Together, we will continue to explore the shadowed corners of existence, bringing to light the chilling narratives that have long been confined to the realm of myth, but which in reality are the very essence of the forgotten, the unseen, and the profoundly mysterious forces that shape our world and our destinies. The true horror is not in the ghosts themselves, but in our refusal to see them, to understand their message. We build these temples of knowledge, these halls of learning, yet we often ignore the spectral imprints of lives lived and lost within them. The psychic energy of unresolved trauma, of profound sorrow, or even intense joy, can linger, shaping the very atmosphere of these places. These are not merely stories. They are echoes of souls trapped in cycles, their spectral presence, a constant, chilling reminder of unfinished business, a whisper from the void that speaks of the enduring power of human experience, even beyond the veil of death. Consider the metaphor of dried blood on cracked mirrors. The mirrors represent our perception of reality, and the cracks signify the distortions caused by our disbelief or fear. The dried blood is the residue of past events, the undeniable evidence of suffering and life's intensity, staining these distorted reflections. The spectral entities are not conjuring these stains. They are the living manifestations of them, forever bound to repeat their stories in ways that reflect the brokenness of their final moments. To truly see, we must mend the cracks in our own perception and acknowledge the indelible marks left by these spectral narratives, a vital step towards understanding. These schools, paradoxically meant to illuminate, often become prisons of memory for those who cannot move on. The spectral echoes are not just auditory or visual phenomena. They are emotional resonances that can deeply affect the living. A sudden, inexplicable wave of sadness in a classroom, a feeling of intense dread in an empty hallway. These are the subtle intrusions of spectral consciousness, attempting to communicate through shared emotional landscapes. They are the whispers from beyond, not necessarily seeking to harm, but to be acknowledged, to have their stories heard, to perhaps find a sliver of peace through connection with the living, a connection often forged through shared, albeit spectral, pain. The greatest fear is not the ghost, but the realization that we too can become such echoes. We are all accumulating psychic energy with every intense experience, every unresolved emotion. The spectral figures in these schools are a stark warning that our own unfinished business, our own deepest regrets can anchor us to this plane, turning us into spectral storytellers ourselves. This profound, unsettling truth should linger long after the screen fades to black, a persistent restlessness that compels us to live with intention, to seek resolution, and to ensure that our own stories do not become tales of eternal haunting, but rather legacies of wisdom and peace. If you find yourself drawn to these shadowy narratives, if the whispers from beyond stir a primal curiosity within you, then you understand the magnetic pull of the unknown. You are part of a rare breed, those who are not content with the superficial, but who seek to understand the deeper, often disturbing truths that lie beneath the surface of everyday reality. This fascination is not a curse, but a gift, an invitation to explore the spectral tapestry that binds us all, a tapestry woven with threads of light and shadow, of life and death, of the known and the infinitely mysterious. Your journey into the dark is a journey towards a more profound understanding of existence itself. Do you feel this dark message was meant for you? Does the cold touch of these spectral accounts send shivers down your spine? A recognition of a deeper, unseen reality that pulses beneath the mundane. Perhaps you've experienced a fleeting presence in a place of supposed safety, heard a whisper that seemed to echo your own unspoken fears, or felt the oppressive weight of history in a silent, empty room. These are the subtle nudges from beyond the veil, the spectral invitations to explore the profound mysteries that surround us, to acknowledge the enduring power of memory, and to understand that the echoes of the past are never truly silent, but continue to resonate, shaping our present in ways we often fail to perceive. Every soul that joins feeds the voice that whispers from the darkness. By subscribing and liking this transmission, you become a vital part of a community dedicated to uncovering these spectral truths. Your engagement amplifies the whispers, transforming them into a powerful chorus that resonates with the forgotten narratives of our world. Together, we will continue to explore the shadowed corners of existence, bringing to light the chilling stories that have long been relegated to the realm of folklore, but which, in reality, are the very essence of the unknown, the unseen, and the profoundly transformative power of acknowledging the spectral echoes that shape our lives and our destinies. The final message from these spectral echoes is not one of simple terror, but of profound interconnectedness. The spirits trapped in these schools are not alien entities. They are, in a sense, reflections of our own unresolved issues, our own deepest fears. Their stories serve as a distorted mirror, showing us what happens when sorrow, regret, or intense passion are left untended. By understanding their plight, we gain a deeper insight into the human condition, and perhaps, more importantly, we are compelled to confront the spectral aspects within ourselves, to seek resolution, and to ensure that our own lives do not become a perpetual haunting, but a journey towards peace and understanding, a testament to the transformative power of acknowledging the unseen.